Hey, let me check in while it's still fresh in my mind on reading the nearly hour-long part 4 of The Wllws by Algernon Blackwood, where I did the marathon read of this section of the story where, it's the next morning and they discover that the canoe's got a rip in it and that one of the paddles is gone, basically their rudder, that, thing. And they're like, wow, we're really screwed. And, at the very least, they're going to have to patch it and spend another night there. And it does turn out that the Swede is very, very much of the same mind as the narrator about this. And I mean, he makes a big thing of, you can't even think of them because they find us by our minds. And they have this super intense conversation, which, it's an hour-long passage. And it's funny because I was kind of slightly drifting off, but then I got kind of revved up, adrenalized by the conversation, and I just powered on to the end and read the whole bloody thing in one big go. I was like, a lot of times I would cut stuff like this in half, but no, I just kept on going and going. This really did think, wow, this would make a great golden age radio play with these two men having this conversation over the fire, a two-hander, where they're just like, revving each other up. One becomes the reasonable one, and then it flips, and the other one becomes the reasonable one, as the story itself notes very, very out loud. And finally ends with them crawling back into the tent and falling asleep after this just super intense thing where they both seem to sort of experience whatever this otherworldly power is, which still at this point could all just be in their heads. It could be kind of like a shared hysteria. There's another part of me, thinking about a couple of these tales that are happening at the kind of the turn of the century, or like I think 1907 is when this is just this whole thing of kind of a mass hysteria or a mass zeitgeist of dread that is coming, of the oncoming dread, which, if this is a 1907 story, is very much sit on the Danube in Austria-Hungary, just like, okay, this is going to be this whole fucking continent is going to be, this area is going to be consumed in a horrible world war, the Great War, except until there was another Great War and it became World War One. It's like, that kind of thing of the bloodbath that was about to occur, the mass killings, the onset of mechanized war. And there's almost like a psychic sense that these horror stories, the weird, the dread, is like, it's the Freudian unlocking of the unconsciousness, but also the Freudian unlocking of just like the capacity for murder, mass murder that is going to happen on a civilization scale, particularized in two men in the wilderness, consumed by dread of the vast forces that are going to be. So yeah, I'm going to stop now before my battery dies. More videos later. The Wllws. One more part to go.